So welcome to week 2 of the County Pulse podcast. And again, our guest is Jordan Damaskin with Prep Red Zone, Illinois. This week, we're going to be talking a little bit about the game of the week, which is going to be Minooka versus Oswego East. So can you tell us a little bit about where they're located, and then, kind of get into what you're seeing for this week, Jordan?
Yeah, so this game of the week is going to be played between Minooka and Oswego East. Last week, Minooka beat Plainfield East in the season opener 50-26, and Oswego East also beat Joliet West 35-14. It's very interesting, and something I'm looking forward to seeing is the way that each team defends each other's offense, because they run a similar offensive scheme. So they're mainly out of the gun formation, and they focus on kind of running, outside zone type of plays, which will, set up the play action so they can take the shot down the field. And then from there, it opens up, running the read option and running counter plays and opening up the passing game, things of that nature. So for Minooka, they have Trevor Hudick and Malik Armstrong at wide receiver. They are going to be kind of the two primary focal point for their offense. And on defense, they have a lot of returning starters. They have Mason Cave, Dylan Meyer, Zach Wingeter, and Will DeBold. Those players are going to kind of be the guys that hold that defense down. They have other returning players as well that will also be able to contribute heavily for that. Now for Oswego East, they have Jared Batty and Aiden Bradshaw. They are their two linebackers, and they are very dominant. They have the closing speed to, cover sideline to sideline. They can make the open field tackle, fill holes and run support. They basically do a lot for that defense. And it's going to be interesting to see kind of what they focus on, like what Oswego East defense focus on against Minooka, on if they're going to focus heavy on, stopping the run, or if they're going to put more emphasis on those two receivers.
So it sounds like it can be a really interesting game between those two teams. Now, was this normally a conference game? Is it a game where these guys normally play each other, or since it's a COVID season, is there something different? Because I know a lot of teams are scrambling around to pick up teams that maybe they don't normally play.
Yeah. So this is actually just a regular conference game for them. They play them almost every year, every other year, depending on the way the schedule works out.
Oh, very good. Yeah. So you have any predictions on that particular game and what you see coming out of that?
Yeah. So for myself, I can see it going either way. It honestly just depends on who can get their running game going first. So then it will set up kind of the deep shots downfield and, the read option and so forth. I do think that Minooka's playmaking abilities on offense and defense can possibly overwhelm Oswego East. So I do have them winning 35-24 in a hard-fought contest. But that being said, Oswego East can win if they control the turnover battle and if they're able to develop the running game first.
Well, I think we're going to have to develop a little thing and put down at the bottom here, because right now you're 1-0. You're correct. You picked Peotone over who was it? I can't even remember game one.
Peotone beat Herscher, yeah.
Yeah. So you're right there. So I think we'll keep a tally, and then maybe at the end, I don't know if you go perfect, give a perfect score, maybe we'll have like a little trophy for you or something. A gift card someplace or something. So, and where did you say that game's at again for people who are watching?
So it is going to be at Minooka.
At Minooka, okay.
Yeah.
And I know I thought last week the Kankakee game that they played was going to be on YouTube, but I wasn't able to find it. It was behind a firewall, so but I thought for sure we're going to be able to watch that. So I don't know, some of these schools like with us, when we're home, at least our basketball games, and I didn't check the football game because we just kind of went into highlights and stuff, at least here, is on YouTube. And so I think anybody can get to that. But I think the Kankakee game, at least what I could see, was behind a firewall. But hopefully these games are out there so people can at least take the time to watch them, especially, again, if you're in the area or if you're interested in Minooka or Oswego East and you can't make it. That's a great opportunity, certainly during this COVID time, and for people that have maybe trouble getting out, still a little cold for them. It'd be a nice way for them to be able to watch it from home. And what we do here when we're watching games that are on YouTube, we'll connect it to your computer, to your TV, and then it's just like watching a regular game. Of course, the quality is a little degraded. It's not a full 4K or HD, but it still gives you a chance to watch it in the comfort of your home. So hopefully we can find that, and if we do, or if you do, we'll have to put it up so people can check it out.
Yeah. So you can actually watch a lot of the high school games on nfhsnetwork.com. And for most schools, it's free to watch it, but there are some schools that you'll have to pay $10, I believe, to watch the game live.
Okay. And I think they have a yearly subscription too, right? They've got a subscription.
Yeah, so there's a yearly, I think, is like $70 or something.
Okay.
And then they have $10 if you want to watch a certain game, if they have like the paywall up. And then they'll also think that they can do is put like a $10 up to watch like a replay of whatever game you want, however many times you want to.
Okay. So last week, anything special pop out at you from your perspective with the Peotone Herscher game?
Yeah. So what I didn't know going into the game, what I found out, from watching it and talking to the coach and the players, was that Peotone actually rotates 4 running backs. So they have 4 starting running backs, and they have a 5th that can also start if need be. So they're pretty deep at the running back position, and the carry per person was average-ish, like between each one. They're about like maybe 6 or 7 carries for at least 6 or 7 for the 4 backs, and then maybe one had 12 and one had 13. But they were still able to produce, very efficiently, and that was very surprising going into it because you don't find many teams in high school that are able to do that.
Well, and it probably helped them down the road, as you were talking about, who's going to have the legs, because it's their first game. They haven't been able to gear up over a longer period of time. And, I could tell in our game that there was, some fatigue setting into some of our players because they're, while some of them may have been in shape, some of them, I know definitely were working out to get that cardiovascular thing going. And then, running, I mean, the average play is running, 5 to 7 seconds. Those kind of bursts will wear you out, right? So I think maybe having that rotation in the backfield, if you've got that kind of talent, probably help them in the long run to, stave off Herscher in that game. So that's interesting. I wanted to kind of talk to, if we can, maybe go back and talk a little bit about the Bradley game, because we're getting ready to go into, and we'll talk a little bit about the Bradley Bolingbrook game that's coming up, and we'll talk a little bit about that. But before we do, let's talk a little bit about the game before. I think the final score there was 38-20, Lincoln Way Central. And I know I've got some insights on this because I was there, but do you have any insights or thoughts on, I know you weren't there, but do you have any thoughts yourself on that game?
Yeah, so I know a few of the players on both teams. I know that Charlie Grafin, he's kind of a skill back for Lincoln Way Central. He had 2 or 3 touchdowns. They're mainly from running jet sweeps. He's a very talented player. He can, when he has the ball in his hand, he can run really fast. Jump, cut to plant his foot, go upfield, turn the corner, has the speed to do so. At receiver, lines up in the slot, can make a defender miss, stack the defender, break him off top of the route. So I know he was going to be kind of a key player heading into the game. I also knew of Ethan McCarty for Bradley Bourbonnais. He's a really good running back. I I don't know what his I don't remember what his stats were verbatim, but he had a fairly decent game, if I'm correct, Jeff.
Yeah, I think he had 23 carries for 177 yards. He had broke a real long one that we were able to see. Of course, everyone was excited about. And I think overall, it wasn't, even though the score didn't reflect it, I don't think it was a dominant win by Lake Central. It certainly got talented, good coaching, stuff like that. A couple areas I think that Bradley's got to tighten up on. I think their special teams, they got to tighten up a little bit there. And they've had a little bit of kind of shuffling back and forth on the quarterbacks. That will probably even out as the games go on, as they kind of fit in there between the two that they're looking at. They have a unique dynamic between those two. One is more of a true passer, real head for the game. The other one is more athletic but younger, and he's kind of trying to learn, and I think he is learning to get that head for the game, how to do the reads, how to do the things that you need to do. So I think if they can tighten those things up, I think they'll do okay. But, I don't think anybody can go into a game with Bolingbrook, which I think is rated 7th, I think last time I seen in Class 8A. We're Class 7A at Bradley, thinking that you're going to overpower Bolingbrook. And you probably have some insight into some of their players coming out of Bolingbrook that could be impact players coming up this week.
Yeah. So an interesting thing for Bolingbrook is that they ended up losing to Lincoln Way East week 1. So they're out for blood. Like, they're going to be very hungry to prove their dominance and show people like, hey, we're still a really good football team. We might have gotten beaten by Lincoln Way East, but we're still very dominant. We can still come out and play and kind of show you what we can do. They got a transferred quarterback. His name is Vincencio Messi. I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name. And they have, a carousel of wide receivers that they all have the talent to play in college, and they all are going to go play in college. So their offense is loaded with talent. They mainly like to pass the ball. I think Messi threw like 25 or 30 passes week 1, which is a lot for a high school quarterback. So they're going to air it out a lot. They're going to be very aggressive at the get-go, kind of be like, hey, we're here to score. We're not going to, take our foot off the gas pedal. So that's kind of something to look at once you're going into the game for Bradley Bourbonnais. But, if they're able to kind of limit some of those players and not give up big plays, they'll have a fair chance of being able to win the game.
Yeah, I think, Bolingbrook losing to Lincoln Way East, I think either that could have gone either way, because I think they're both powerhouse. Lincoln Way East always seems to have, what I would describe as a great product to put on the field, right? They always have a lot of talent coming on there, but Bolingbrook is nothing to sneeze at either. They can really put the players in and they can play. So, I think each week, and this would apply to anybody who plays, I think each week, no matter what the final score is, I think each player's got to kind of do, a self-search of, what did I do? The great thing about Huddle is Huddle allows you to come in and, we did this weekend. We went in and looked at the highlights, identified, our player and Grayson, and, try to figure out what did he do right and what wasn't he doing. And I think, as we get into this, and we're going to start doing this here quickly, is you're talking about how are you maximizing your opportunities? One, to be better, right? So we got to be better. How do we then maximize ourselves to, if we're getting better? Who knows it, right? You know it. Your family knows it. The fans that come may know it. Your coaches know it, high school coaches. But who doesn't know it is the college coaches, unless you're out there putting those things up. So I think each week, by taking the time to go through that Huddle tape, no matter what your score is, if you lost 80-0, the question will be, when you come back as an individual player, you lost the team, but come back as an individual player, what did I do right, and how can I get those out to those college coaches of, this is my week 1 highlight, this is my week 2 highlight, and especially those college coaches that are interested in you. And so I think that's a good opportunity, and I'm not lowering expectations here for teams. I'm just saying, it's easy to play a game, lose, and be upset about it and think nothing good came out of it. But I think every play, and I say this all the time to players, every play runs 5 to maybe 10 seconds at the most. Typically, 5 to 7 seconds. You've got to be your best in those 5 to 10 seconds. And then what you have to do from there is be able to say, hey, what did I do on that play that's right? And, you're a team player, and the team's going to act accordingly. But at the end of the day, you have to then reflect inward and say, okay, this is what I'm doing. And we did that. We sent our stuff out this weekend. We got feedback, and Grayson asked for feedback from coaches, college coaches, and they gave some really good feedback. This is what I think you need to do. Elbows in, thumbs up, pinkies down, those kind of things. And that's important. And this is a coach that's really, it's not his coach, but it's a coach that may be interested in him. And so you can get these kind of tips. Plus, you get your name out there. So I think as we go along, Jordan, we're going to be talking a lot about how you do that and what that process is. And I think you've got some insight. I've got some insight. And I'm hoping that we start getting players that are interested in this. And then I think what we're going to do, and we might be busy, and you being much younger than me probably have a lot more energy than I do. But we want to be able to do that, right? Let's talk about this week's recruiting tips. And then we also want to bring some players on that we want to have them on live, talk to them, get their film, look at their film, and get that stuff done. So that's coming up here, and it's just a matter of really it's on me, getting my schedule right as far as what I've got to do, make sure I'm filling up to it as I continue my recovery from where I was at back in October. And really just keeping up with the young guns, and Jordan, you're busy, and I think you've done a good job, and I'd like to give a shout out to our guy Rob down in Virginia, who does Spotlight 39 pod, and he does a great job with a lot of athletes, and you're on that. Can you talk a little bit about Rob's segments and what he does and kind of his layout? Because I've had some players I've referred to him that I think would be a good fit, and I know he's getting a lot of followings, and he does that for free, just like we're doing this for free, right?
Yeah.
So talk a little bit about Rob and the great things he's doing down there.
Yeah, so Rob started Spotlight 39 in memory of his cousin who ended up passing away. So his whole thing is being a national platform for high school football athletes to kind of come on, share their story, talk about their recruiting, what they're good at doing for their position, what they need to improve on, and then, diving deeper than that, talking about who they are as a person. So kind of what their hobbies are, what they like to do in their free time, what drives them, like what their why is, right? So then when coaches can look at it, they can see, oh, I understand what he is as a football player. Now I get to see what he is as a character, because a big thing in recruiting is kind of, your character going into it. Coaches want to know that. So once you're able to show that on a platform and get that out there, it's a really great tool, really great resource. So Rob Odie at Spotlight 39 does a great job of it. Yeah, so Rob goes live every Monday through Thursday from 8 p.m. Eastern until 10 p.m. Eastern. And what he will do, he'll kind of schedule the interviews in advance with players that DM him and message him. The one thing that he does ask is that if you are going to be on the show, that you show love and support to him. You're able to help him grow the channel, because again, he does it for free. He doesn't get paid for it. He does it out of his own free time just to help the athletes, trying to get their name out there, share their story. Another really cool thing that I'm going to say is that this Sunday, he's actually going to have a Ravens player on his podcast, and they're going to do a live Q&A. So if you want to tune into that, you can. They're accepting kind of fan Q&As right now. You just have to go to Spotlight 39 on Twitter or even on YouTube and just comment. Just send them a message on either one and say, hey, this is my question for this player. It's a 2-time Pro Bowler. He's a fullback, also a special team specialist. So, he's a great guy, nice guy, and really looking forward to kind of seeing how that plays out for him.
Yeah, that's cool. And you said that's Sunday. Do you know what time that starts by chance, Jordan?
Let me.
I think then that way we can put that, maybe we'll put that out separately and get that out. Like I said, Rob's a great guy. He does it, like you said, in honor of his cousin. And was it his cousin? Is that correct? Am I correct
Yeah.
in that? And he does a really good job. Got a great setup. I'm a little bit envious of Rob, but what would be great is to get people to check him out. And he, the other thing that I think's important, and Rob's getting a lot of interest from around the country to come out to different places in the country, and doing this free. Obviously, he's not independently wealthy, but any support you can give him, and what he has is a nice little thing set up. And people may have heard of it. It's called Buy Me a Cup of Coffee, and you can go on there, buy him one cup of coffee for $5. I bought him several cups of coffee, and didn't think twice about it once Jordan told me he was connected with them, and I got to just briefly talk with Rob about what he was about, and kind of do a little research on it, and then read some articles, and then saw his video on the tragic events of his cousin. But you can go on there, check out Rob, buy him a cup of coffee. He's got a link there, I think. $5. Everyone's got $5. If you can go buy a Starbucks, which I do. I always tell my wife every day, I'm going to go later today. I need a Starbucks, and that's usually about $5. So take an extra $5 filters, Rob, because I'd like to get him out to places, and especially I'd like him to love to get him here in the Midwest, and that's kind of why we're doing it, especially down here. Jordan's helping me out in the Kankakee County area to help get exposure out to people. And our kids. And I got a nice text from one of the kids that I knew from travel basketball, and he goes to Bishop Mack Kankakee High School. He plays basketball for them, all conference selection. Grant Fouts sent me a wonderful text and said he really appreciates what we're doing to get athletes recognition. He said other athletes appreciate it as well, and you like to hear that. You don't do it for the thanks, but you like to hear it that athletes appreciate that, and that they're looking forward to it. And so I think this thing is only going to grow, and we're not in competition with what Rob does or anybody else. I think we could get 1,000 people doing this, and what would happen is you would find in those areas that are overlooked that these kids are working hard, and there's athletes. And I was blessed this week to talk to Tom Lemming. I think he's the godfather of recruiting. And I said, I think every kid who has some talent on the football field and who works hard has a place somewhere in college, whether it be JUCO, NAIA, Division III, Division II, Division I. And he agreed with that. And so, my thought process was that, and he confirmed it. So if we can get these kids the exposure that we need, and that's what Rob's doing, that's what we're doing. I know there's other folks that I've seen around the country doing. If we can get kids that don't have that media market, or maybe aren't that 4-star, 5-star athlete, they'll play somewhere. And people just got to manage their expectations. But the question is, do you want to get a degree, and do you want to play? And that's what we're trying to do. You agree, Jordan?
Yeah.
Okay. So did you find out what time it is by chance?
No, I couldn't find it, but it is Pat Ricard.
Okay.
Is the guest.
Okay, so what we'll do is we'll get with Rob. We'll put something up out this week so we can get it out to folks. And then, the other thing we'll ask people to do as we're watching this is to share what we're doing. Tweet it out. If we can get it on Facebook it, share it with your friends. And then, we're going to put out a call. We might as well do it now. We're going to put out a call. We want to get athletes to football, especially right now, to contact us. If they want to be on the show, come on the show. Me and Jordan will come on. We'll interview. It's like Rob does. It's 10 to 15 minutes long. Come on and get it out. And the good thing is we can do that. We can do it live. And then you can get that out to your college coaches. And, college coaches get to learn something about you. And I think it's important, following up what you said, Jordan, is part of this recruiting process is when you start following a coach and you're interested, you go to their website, you look for recruiting form, or you just Google, whatever college football questionnaire, you fill that out. And sometimes when you're filling that out, and my son's done that and filling these things out, and some of them are pretty detailed. What's your hobbies? What's your favorite movie? What's your favorite food? And he was asking me, like, what's this about? And I said, they want to know you. They want to know, what do you like to do in your free time? What's your favorite movie star? Who's your favorite music artist? And sometimes you think those are a little crazy, but that's what they're trying to do. And that's what Rob's doing. And that's what we're also going to be doing in conjunction with Rob, is letting them know, these college coaches, letting them know who you are, not just as a player on the field, but what kind of kid you are, what kind of young man you are off the field, because they're not just investing in you as a football player, they are investing in you as a person. And as our coach says at Bradley, the result isn't the end. What is really important is, what kind of person are you, right? Enjoy the process, work the process, but also understand, even though you made a bad play, people need to know what kind of person you are. And so that helps you be a better person. It's going to be a better man, a better boyfriend, a better spouse, and a better father. So that's what we're trying to do. And we're going to encourage people, and we'll put stuff out. Hey, if you want to be interviewed, come on, and we'll do it. And I'm going to throw something at Jordan that he probably didn't even think I was going to ask him. He may not even have the answer to this one.
Let's hear it.
But thinking about a young man that I truly love, like he's my own, Grant Fouts over at Bishop Mack, and some of those boys, and of course our boys here at Bradley, Owen Freeman, the boys that can really play. What I'd like to do is maybe tag this on a little bit and make some connections laterally in your organization to someone from Prep Hoops Illinois that maybe want to get some of these kids on, and we can do something with them, because you're football, right? I don't want to leave the basketball out. And, I know you said, which is news to me, but it's a great thing, having someone from Prep Diggs on too, to kind of talk about it. And let's highlight some of these basketball and volleyball players. And that's going to be something down the road as we do that. But if you can, once we finish up with this, if we can let me know where I need to go to find those connections, and we can, put those into seasons, right? And we'll kind of carve that calendar out for recruitment process, right? The signing periods, those are big deals. But then getting into basketball, we'll go football and normal seasons, basketball. We'll have volleyball, that'll be in there. And so that will be something that we can do. And I don't know if you can help facilitate that, but I think that would be helpful for our athletes in the area that are watching. So it doesn't just have to be this area, but I'm really concentrated. That's why it's called the County Podcast, is I'm really concentrated in Kankakee County, Iroquois County, some of the surrounding counties. But, hey, if there's a kid from Indiana, there's a kid from Wisconsin or Iowa, they're certainly welcomed to come on, and we'll do the same with them. Yeah. So just need some help from you, brother. That's all I need.
That's all right. I got you.
All right, man. I knew you did. So are you gonna watch the game live stream, or are you gonna go out to Minooka this week?
So this week I'm just gonna be watching it over a live stream.
Okay, well, that's good. Very good. Well, it saves you some travel, and you can stay warm this week. We'll be heading up to Bolingbrook to battle a great team and great athletes, and of course great coaches up there. And we're hoping that our great athletes and coaches and will be able to, at least compete to some level, right, with those folks, and then not only compete but take home a victory. So with that, I don't have anything else. If you do, we can go into that. But I appreciate the fact that you came on, and we'll plan on doing this every week. I'll get it out, see if I need to do some editing, and then we will put it up. And once we share it, we're asking you as a viewer of this to share it. I'll continue to try to put things in chapters. So if you don't hear us ramble on, you can go right to the sport, you can go right to the recruiting, whatever it may be. So, Jordan, thanks for your time, man. I appreciate you coming on, brother.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for having me on, as always.
All right. Thanks, man. Take care now.
See ya.